Welcome to Tampa Home Talk with your host, native Tampa real estate girl, Katrina Madewell, a full-time, passionate, out-of-the-box thinker, love for home ownership kind of realtor with over 21 years of combined mortgage and real estate experience. Tune in every week at this time for expert advice on everything you need to know about home ownership, finance, maintaining great credit, building wealth, and making your everyday life better, and how you can be financially successful today and tomorrow. Remember, love where you live or let Katrina fix it. Now, here's your host of Tampa Home Talk, Katrina Madewell.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining this afternoon on the Real Estate Radio Network. You're listening to Tampa Home Talk. I'm your host, Katrina Madewell. You can find us here every Thursday and Saturday at 5 p.m. on 1340, 1350, and 1400. Today's show is literally, it's a pane in the glass. And I am not joking. We are going to have fun today. We have the Glass Doctor in studio. So we have Brian Yarbrough, which is the chief cheerleader over there at Glass Doctor. And then we have Mr. Frank Koch. Did I get your name correct, Mr. Frank?
Lekoch.
Lekoch. I will get it right by the end of the show.
Not a problem.
With the Glass Doctor. Welcome, fellas.
Well, thank you for having us.
Really excited to have you guys in studio. When I speak about Glass Doctor, the first thing that I want to say as I introduce our guests is when I introduce them and I say they're a great company to work with, I say that from experience. And that's because I've worked with you guys numerous projects on a number of years, not only at my own home, like as much as I don't want to throw myself under the bus, like 5 windows you guys have replaced, right? I guess that happens when you have baseball kids and all that stuff.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
literally for clients, like 2-story windows, the whole bit. And we're going to talk about some of the things that you guys do, because you do a lot of things glass related, and there's different types of glass, which I never would have thought to ask or talk about, but there are. So welcome again to the show.
Well, thank you.
So Glass Doctor's been around really since 1962, but in the Tampa area for 20 years?
That's correct. Since the late 80s.
So
over 20.
Talk about Glass Doctor. Like, what makes you guys unique? Because I can feel it. You know, when I met with you, when I talked to you guys about your core being and your company and your people, and you can tell that when they show up. You're different.
Right. We kind of just steadily growing in the market, and the way we're doing that is just being very conservative, trying to make smart hires and build this passionate culture of just honesty and integrity and respect. And unlike most small businesses, we're only about 22, 23 employees and growing, I'd like to say. But
sometimes it's better, to stay small and grow in moderation just a little bit.
Otherwise, you can lose your culture. You lose that pulse. And we're unique in the sense of a small business. One of the things that we do that kind of helps keep everybody focused on customer service and getting the job done right is that everybody on my team profit shares. In other words, not only are they compensated, but they also share in the end results of the company in one fashion or another, so that getting that service and that customer in a value price point and delivering top customer service, you don't have to micromanage that when it's part of the core culture and it's part of their compensation. And so it keeps all of us focused, and we just like to grow nice and slow and make good hires and stabilize at the next level and just service as many customers as we can.
And it sounds like everybody's accountable too, right? Like everybody has their piece of the puzzle. They're all part of it.
We have a great team.
It's a win-loss, but we're all in it together.
Right. Yep. When we lose, we all lose a little bit, and when we learn from that and grow and get better, it all sounds easy when you talk about it,
of
but
course.
It's not easy to block and tackle and execute. It's like
not.
All the coaches can say the right things, but not all the coaches can actually deliver that product onto the field.
That's right.
And that's really what
There's a lot of people that lose their job over that.
I see my role and Frank's role. We're coaches. We're facilitators, both with the customer and as far as educating the customer, but with the team is trying to facilitate their personal growth and helping us grow our company.
And you are a great person. We're going to talk a little bit about more your genetic, your background, like some of the stuff you've done and how you know some of the people on your team. We're going to come back to that later part of the show, but just real quick, let's run down some of the stuff that Glass Doctor does, right? Obviously, they do windshields, auto glass.
Yes, we're a full-service glass company. We do work on residential, anything glass in your residence we can work on. And about half of our business is also auto glass. So any glass in your car, side glass, windshields, side view mirrors, rear view mirrors. If it's glass, we can fix it or help you get it fixed, hopefully at a good price point. And I'll kind of defer to Frank. Frank is kind of runs the residential side and commercial side of our glass business, and especially the custom glass showers, which hopefully some of your customers might be interested in if they're fixing up their home. Frank, you want to add a little bit about that?
Yes, sir. Anything glass related, we take care of in your home and business also.
Now, the glass doors for the shower, you guys have several different types of those, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And I know we see obviously things change with times and design and trends, and so a lot of the, what do you call it, the seamless glass?
Frameless.
Frameless glass. Okay.
I'm going to say 95% of our shower installs are frameless.
So those are the ones that aren't like the stuff you saw in the 90s.
Correct.
With the gold and the silver all around
and
it,
the
right?
bronze
Holding
frame.
it.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Correct.
So we're getting away from that now with the modern day shower designs, and they're putting, talk about the structure. How are those made up? I think
Basically, the frameless glass showers are all 3/8 glass or heavier. Could be 1/2 inch also.
When he says heavier, he means thicker.
Thicker.
Okay.
Sorry.
yeah, I mean, for again that jargon, right? We
Right.
do it every day.
I'll try to help. I'll try to help out.
And basically, there's very little hardware. There's different ways of installing the actual glass. There's
And
a
that's
couple
a
different ways.
piece that I was talking about. When you say very little hardware, I'll describe it and you can clean me up. But I'll
Sure.
see, like, when we're out showing properties, this big piece of glass in the shower. Maybe it has 1, 2, 3 sides. And there's like one little connector that might be a couple inches holding the
Yeah,
glass in place.
That's called a clip.
Okay.
It can be done with a clip and can also be done with a U-channel.
Okay. So,
That's the two different styles.
and what
of
are
installation.
those? What do they look like?
Basically, the clip is a square, I'd say 2-inch by 2-inch, basically like a clamp that gets anchored to either the sill of the shower or the wall that will hold the glass in place.
Now, are one of those more secure over another?
They're both very secure.
No, it's not more secure. The clip gives you a less metal, so it gives you a little cleaner look. But there's advantages to the U channel, just a small trim that goes along the wall and the sill, the floor surfaces, and it has a really small profile. And it has some advantages because most walls and floors are not square and plumb, especially tile. And so
Go figure.
yeah, so the clips, I mean, the U channel can give you a much cleaner look because if you don't have the U channel and the glass is square and you don't cut it completely right out of square, your spacing may be uneven. So there's advantages to both depending on the application and what the customer wants. But the clip just gives you more glass, less metal. But the U-channel, low profile U-channel, doesn't really take away from that look and can cover flaws in your job site, not necessarily in the glass.
What could someone expect to pay for that? I know it's going to depend on how many pieces of glass, how big, how thick, right? All of that type of stuff.
Yes, ma'am. Depends on the size and the complexity of the
actual.
actual.
What's a range? What's one of the cheapest
range,
one? I know, I'm
like
sure.
like a single door, single frameless door, could range anywhere from $595 to a complex shower over $2,000.
Well, the sky is the limit, I'm sure, right?
Yes, ma'am. You can.
And I would say our
Personalize them.
average installs a door and a panel, because most people you got a tub or a shower before, so they're a lot of times just got one plane, right? You don't turn in any corners sometimes.
Correct.
And a door and a panel, you're looking at somewhere between $800 to $1,200 is the average range that you're looking at for budgeting. And you can have a really nice, it can really dress up your application. And best part about those things is they show off your tile. If you're spending all this money on this fancy tile, the glass just allows you to show that off. So when somebody walks into your bathroom, they can see the beautiful tile work, and they're not looking through a shower curtain or something. They don't have to peek behind your shower curtain to see your tile, right?
And you guys can etch those into whatever you want. So like me, we're Bucks fans. We could literally put a flag in our bathroom if we wanted to.
Absolutely. We
Right?
could have a Bucks flag etched onto your shower door. No problem.
Jen's laughing, but she knows I would do it.
I'm a diehard football fan. I'm a little bit more passionate about college football, but I certainly enjoy my Bucks football games.
Okay, which team? Have to ask.
But for college?
Yeah.
I'm a University of Florida graduate. I have to go
you're
for the
Gators.
Gators. Yes.
Woo! Okay, you're welcome. You can stay.
Good. I can stay. Good. Hey, a funny story. I had a vendor of mine that we did some work for. Really nice lady. I just really like her, and she was a female athlete. I think volleyball, might have been basketball too. I forget, at the FSU, and so she's a huge Noel fan, and she's just really fun to deal with. And so anyhow,
You mean to Raz?
Yeah, and so I told her, I said, look, we did some work for her. If you can get positive reviews for me, posted on these 5 websites, and a couple of them you had to create accounts and become members. I said, I'll wear a FSU shirt to work all day. I said, I'll probably get a rash, but I'll wear that for you. And darn if she didn't do it. I didn't think she would do it, so I still have to pay that bet. I have to wear a FSU shirt for a day. It's going to kill me. You'd appreciate that, obviously,
yes.
being a Gator fan.
You might take your Benadryl before you have to wear that thing.
I'm going to break out in a rash.
So, since we're on the topic of shower glass, what about when those things, if they chip or, before I even get there, cleaning them? Let's talk about that, right? Because water spots, right, are obviously an issue.
That's a very good question, and that wasn't even on our FAQ list.
No, but I just try to think about like stuff I get in the field when I'm with clients, and what are they going to ask me? What are things we should tell them? And
Frank,
so cleaning them, that's huge, right? Water spots.
Talk to her about
Yes,
that.
there's different ways to keep your shower up. Number one, right now there's a product called Enduro Shield, which is a coating that's done at the factory. It's got a 10-year warranty, and basically does the same job as when you wax your car. Same idea.
It's called Enduro Shield?
Enduro Shield,
okay.
correct.
So that beads up?
Yes, and it stops water from making watermarks and etching the glass.
So how do you take care of that? Like, how do you clean it? Does it roll off by itself and it's minimal? Like, does it require any different chemicals when you go to clean the bathroom?
Enduro Shield does have a website that you can go to, and they tell you you can buy their cleaners, but they do give you a list of safe cleaners that you can buy. And
it's a pretty common product.
Correct.
Pretty common, mild soaps. Plus, what I've seen most successful is the people that are really good about keeping their shower clean. They have a little squeegee in the shower.
Yes.
And if you've had this Enduro Shield on it and you squeegee it every other shower, it's going to look fine.
It's going to last you a lifetime.
So you really don't have to clean it as much.
And what's going on? If you look at glass magnified, it's porous. It's got holes. So if you magnify it up, it's actually got holes, and so these
water deposits,
industrial applied water treatments basically fill those holes with their Enduro Shield product when they apply it. So then that lasts a long time, and it's harder for any materials to kind of get a hold of the surface, and that's how it works. It's kind of like Rain-X, but just industrial strength.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But it's much better than that. It's industrial strength, and 10-year warranty. That's pretty impressive for.
And it's made for the shower. Sounds like
It is.
Correct.
It is.
So what about if those things chip or crack? Like, are they? I guess no glass is. I guess it is unbreakable, but it's probably a lot more like. I don't know. If a kid throws a shampoo bottle at it, it's probably not going to break.
No, it's not going to break. Showers by code have to be tempered safety glass.
Okay.
So I mean they're very resilient. If they, however, if they do, break, and I've seen them, break, and what happens is the glass shatters. It doesn't.
It does.
It doesn't crack. It just shatters.
So there's no cleanup. You're just Glass Doctor's coming out to replace it.
Right. It's not going to chip. It's going to shatter
and that's what tempered glass is built to do. It's built for safety so that nobody gets large pieces of glass that
a big heavy piece of
yourself.
glass.
Correct.
If it broke and fell onto your foot would be like a guillotine. So the way they do that is that when you temper it, you heat. It's a heating cooling process. It strengthens and the molecules get tighter together. And then when it breaks in little pieces. And those little pieces will give you minor scrapes and cuts maybe, but you're not going to the hospital.
And that's the thing too, like you mentioned before the show when we were talking, glass in its most simplistic form is basically a liquid. When you break it down and you heat it up, it's a liquid.
Right. It's funny. We did some research after we talked to you about that, because we had always said glass is actually not a liquid, and the reality is that there's a debate in the thermodynamic chemistry community about that, whether it's a liquid or a solid. It's really neither. It's like this in between state that some people call a glacious state. But it has It's an unusual product, and has this crystalline state, and there's only a few substances that behave like glass, but the glass isn't the only one.
What's the other one?
Gosh.
Do you remember?
Do you remember when we read that article and it was
Yeah, I was reading the article.
rubber? Some of the rubber products and polymers, I think, behave that way. Some of the polymers, maybe like
I
even
thought for the longest time,
PVC and PBB, maybe they're one of them. That's why it gets clear, probably.
My science geeks are going to love this conversation.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
all through science classes in school and stuff. Basically, always taught that glass is not a solid; it's a liquid. But I guess we got proven wrong yesterday.
Well, it's just one of those. It's more complex than that. I read a whole 2-page article about it, and it was way more detail than we want to get into. But I forgot what the original question was. Now, where were we?
Well, you're listening to Tampa Home Talk, and we're going to leave you guys on the hook. We have to take a quick break. And if you missed any part of our show, catch it on the web at TampaHomeTalk.com. We're also on Facebook and Twitter at Tampa Home Talk. When we come back in a few minutes, we're going to talk about some of the different types of glass, and we're going to have a little bit more fun in the studio. Back in a minute.
You've heard this before. Interest rates are at all-time record lows. But if your interest rate is 4% or above, you owe it to yourself to call Silverton Mortgage Specialist. Silverton is a direct lender. The best part about this is that the entire loan process is handled in-house. From application to close, we do it all in the same building, which means that our loans close fast and our clients know what's going on every step of the way. Our contact info is located on TampaHomeTalk.com under Radio Show. What makes Silverton different? Products. We offer VA, FHA, USDA, and conventional loans pricing. Best rates with the lowest closing cost. Process everything in-house. It's handled right here. This way we can avoid surprises. Our people are simply the best, and we know you'll agree. What will closing Silverton Mortgage Specialist mean to you? A smooth process, real home loan value, and personal attention from real professionals. Silverton Mortgage Specialists are here to serve you. Visit TampaHomeTalk.com under Radio Show. NMLS 109600 is an equal housing lender and Florida and Georgia residential mortgage licensee.
Thanks for rejoining us here on Tampa Home Talk this afternoon. If you missed the earlier part of our show, our guest today in studio is Glass Doctor, and we have Brian Yarbrough and Frank Lekoch in studio with Glass Doctor. And the first part of our show really talked a lot about bathroom glasses. So, people that are changing their showers out and that type of stuff. There's so many different things. We talked about it being impact glass. Is that what you said? Is that right?
Tempered safety.
Tempered safety glass. That's where I was going next, with some of the different types of glass. So what's the difference between tempered safety glass, impact glass? Anything else I'm missing?
Tempered glass is basically for that purpose, for safety indoors or anything near a door.
And that's because
of safety, the way that breaks, that
okay.
Nobody gets hurt.
So it doesn't shatter like regular glass, or
it doesn't. It shatters, but the whole thing shatters.
Okay.
Most people have seen a car window when somebody smashed and grabbed a car window, and you get all those little teeny pieces of glass everywhere.
And they stay together.
And sometimes they stay in place until you bash it out. But if somebody's breaking in to get your radio or your purse, they knock it. It cracks in little teeny pieces, and then it sometimes falls, sometimes stays. But as soon as you can knock it out, really, and it just falls. And that's tempered glass. Most cars, almost 95% of car glass that's the side or the back is tempered. There are new exceptions to that. We can talk about that if you want later. The windshield's the only one that's not. It's another type of safety glass, which I'll kick it back to Frank.
Just called laminated.
Laminated glass.
Correct.
Which means
basically laminated.
to lay people like me.
I'm glad you said something. I was laughing.
To non-glass people.
Laminated glass is basically two pieces of glass, and in between the two pieces of glass is sandwiched a inner layer that keeps the glass together. Brian just gave you a sample there.
I just handed her a sample. You can't see it out there on the radio.
This is windshield glass.
That is
yes.
Well, that is.
It could be, yes.
It is on the order of windshield glass.
Oh.
So there's literally these clear plastic pieces in the middle.
What's really here? This is really cool. So we'll have to describe it to our listeners.
Yes.
But this is what's in your windshield. This is actually a piece of the PVC. PVB, I mean, the inner layer that goes in. You see the dark tint across the top? The top's, you know how
that's the windshield,
that's
right?
Yeah, that's
okay.
When it goes through the manufacturing, the kiln, the heating process, This turns clear, as you see over there in that small sample you have in your hand. It's kind of a milky before it's processed.
So I'm going to describe this thing. It is milky. It's kind of like a raincoat. It also reminds me, and this is going to be a perfect analogy. If you ever have, or if you have a laminator and you have something that you want to put that clear lamination coat, right, going back to what you said, over a piece of paper and you're going to laminate it, it's always a little bit frosty or different. It's not perfectly clear. And then once you put it through the heater or the laminator, it clears up,
Same
like
kind
what I have in front of
process.
me.
That's correct.
And this is laminated glass, right?
That is
How
correct.
appropriate. It's interesting.
And your tint in a factory windshield, that top 6 inches that's tinted, what we call the shade band, on most factory cars, that is actually in between the two panes of glass. It's actually on the PVB inner layer. And
PVB means? Do you remember?
You know what PVC means? It's
Okay.
that with a B. You
So
know,
it's
it's
that.
polyvinyl something.
Okay.
And all the guys that are in the industry are laughing at me because I don't know what that stands for.
That's all right. We can
But
look it up later.
whatever. PVB. It's who knows what PVC
Well,
stands
I mean,
for.
we say PVC all the time, and I have no idea what that stands for.
Polyvinyl, and I
Sodium?
forget, chlor. It's a chemical term.
Gotcha.
Right.
That's it. We're not
But,
scientists. I get it.
Most people think the tint. A lot of people have aftermarket tint on their windshield too, right? To darken it or make it more than the 4, 5, or
Right.
6 inches to help keep the heat down in Florida, of course. But the factory stuff's actually not a film. You can't scratch it off. It's actually between two panes of glass. So laminated glass is two panes of glass with this in the middle. And then when it breaks, instead of having big pieces fall, it breaks like it's normal glass. It breaks. But the PVB inner layer keeps it from falling on you, keeps it all in one piece. It also provides extra security on your home or your car because it's
an extra
hard.
layer.
It's hard to break through this, and it's also what is in impact hurricane glass. We'll talk about that impact safety glass, which has thicker pieces of this in it, and so it's really hard. It
This stuff
really
is like
adds,
stretchable.
yeah, it really adds to the security.
Polyvinyl butyrol.
Oh,
There you
thank
go.
you. Oh, Google Siri helped him out. Nice job.
You weren't supposed to tell. Just put it in there.
Man.
But
So what?
So
So,
it's-
this is what makes laminate glass, right? Is this stuff in the middle?
right. So in other words, it's two pieces of glass with this stuff in the middle,
The plastic.
and it provides you the safety of not getting cut if it's broken. It also provides extra security if you're on a home or a business because it's hard to get through. And on a windshield, you might imagine, what is it doing on the windshield? It's keeping objects
Oh God, yes.
from coming
There's
through
stuff
your window.
I mean,
bricks,
I
rocks,
had to
birds.
replace a flat tire literally a week ago because some guy driving down the interstate was carrying stuff on his trailer and it flew off, and I had no choice but to roll over it. So I'm driving my little, not even a foot off the ground Prius, and there's my flat tire. So it's
Well, that is
it's-
one of the-
So windshields.
The windshield has three main functions. One is to keep debris out of your eyes and objects from injuring you. Another is it actually is part of the structure of the car, so it keeps your roof from collapsing if you're in a rollover. It's designed into the engineering to provide structural support. And then I said there was three, didn't I? Well, protect you. What would be the... objects penetrating, we got that. Well, it keeps your car cooler, cleaner, and drier. Keeps you dry.
I mean, it would make sense because it's a little bit of a barrier in between.
Right.
So, and we are going to get questions here and there, but one of the ones we got was if you have to break a window in your car, what's the cheapest one to break? So let's say somebody locked themselves out of their car.
Or their
the
kid,
baby's in
or
the
their
car.
dog,
Yeah, whatever. Oh, I've gotten locked out of my car, actually.
If it's urgent, but you got time to think for a second, you want to probably break your main front
Your
window.
windshield, right? 'Cause
No,
insurance
well, the
is
windshield
pretty-
would be cheaper but it'd be hard to get through because remember it's got the
Yes.
laminate, so you'd be working a long time to get through it. So if you need to get in quick because you're locked in and you got to hurry or you got an animal or a dog or a pet or whatever and you can't wait for the locksmith, you break the main front driver or the main front passenger window, the one that rolls up and down. It's going to be cheaper. Then the little teeny vent glass is going to cost you more.
Really?
Usually. Here's why. It's supply and demand. What windows break the
Yes.
most? They either get broken by the thieves or the vandals or by the accidents, or rolling it up and down, a malfunctioning regulator that rolls up and down your window, that could break. So your window, that's the one, there more of them are breaks, so more are mass produced, so they're cheaper to buy, so they're cheaper to install for you. But the little teeny quarter glass on the back that gives that nice decorative design, it doesn't get broken very often. There's not many of them in our supplier's warehouse, and so
More expensive.
much more, sometimes 3 or 4 times more expensive. It's
crazy.
unbelievable. So people break the little quarter glass thinking it's cheaper, and they call us and we have to give them the bad news. So break the main front passenger or driver's
And if
window.
you're listening to Tampa Home Talk and you want to get in touch with Glass Doctor, our off-air number is 813-377-2775. We'd be happy to connect with Glass Doctor. Again, I've used them personally, so I highly recommend them over any other company. I don't even know who else is out there because you guys are the only ones I would ever call. But our number off-air, 813-377-2775. And you can call us or text us at 813-377-2775. So what about if the trim comes off the windshield? And is your windshield going to leak?
Well, that's we get that question a lot sometimes because maybe we had a clip or something break and installed a windshield, and then the molding or the trim comes off. People are concerned that their windshield is going to leak, but actually the windshield is actually sealed. The glass is sealed with a special adhesive to the pinch weld frame, the metal frame, the painted metal frame of the opening in your window. That's where the seal comes in. That's where that prevents all the leaks. So the molding is just the trim to cover the gap between the glass and the frame of your body. And even some windows now, some cars now don't even have a molding there. They just tighten the tolerances so down low that you can see the bare edge of the glass. But most have moldings or trims because it keeps the debris out, it keeps the leaves out, and it dresses the car off nice. So you'll have black or chrome trim around your windshield. That is all cosmetic. It plays very little function. It doesn't have anything to do with the structure of the vehicle or the.
So what about sunroofs? Why do those leak?
That's one of my favorite questions, and I save some of my friends lots of money with that one. The sunroofs, especially on your SUVs or any vehicle, they're not watertight. When it rains, they're designed to they know moisture is going to get down around the edge of your seal around your sunroof, and down inside underneath there's going to be weep holes. There's going to be two teeny little weep holes, usually one on each side at a low point towards the front of your sunroof opening, and that water. When
you say weep holes, Brian, can you just explain that a little more?
It's just a little teeny hole. If you look, you'll see it. It'll be a little teeny hole that was drilled by the manufacturer there to allow the moisture, condensation, and or water to drain down through your A-pillar and drain out somewhere in your engine compartment or behind your tire or through the body. And if those weep holes, if you park under an oak tree or a place where there might be pollen or leaves or dirt, those weep holes will occasionally fill up. If they fill up, water will build up in there and slosh around, and all of a sudden you'll be hitting your brakes and you'll see little stains on your top of your vehicle.
Which is interesting because technically your sunroof isn't really leaking. You just need to clean those holes out.
And it's usually as simple as getting up there with a vacuum cleaner and maybe a toothpick and just kind of cleaning all that out. And it's a really simple fix. But you take it to a less than scrupulous glass shop, auto glass shop, or car dealership, or a mechanic, or maybe he's not even unethical. Maybe he just doesn't know, and they'll $500, $600, $700 to replace your sunroof, or you're just going to have to deal with the water leaking into your headliner and staining it and dripping into your car. And when it's really as simple as just cleaning out the weep hole. So
and Glass Doctor replaces sunroofs, right? If they're broken, the glass, is that something you do?
We
probably don't get a lot of it.
And we don't get a lot of it. We can. For a good customer, we'll do anything that has a glass, but it's not typically something that we do.
That you do?
It's not typically, but we will. We have, and we can.
So you're listening to Tampa Home Talk. Our guest today in studio is Glass Doctor. To take a very quick break, but we will be back in a minute, and we're going to talk about cracked windshields next, and why it's not okay, and why you really shouldn't drive around with that thing cracked. We'll be back in a minute.
Aaron Davis here, owner of Hillsborough Title, serving all of Tampa Bay. Our service, strength, and knowledge make us different. From Polk County to the Gulf, Pasco to Manatee, Tampa Bay, we've got you covered. Visit us on the web at thebesttitle.com. That's thebesttitle.com.
Hi, this is Melissa Rogers, owner of SEC Inspection Services. We're so glad that you're listening today, that we're offering you a special deal. If you're purchasing a home, you can have $50 off your full home inspection. And if you're already a client of ours, we're offering 10% off of any other service that we offer. Just give us a call at 727-786-4663 or visit us on the web at secinspection.com.
welcome back to Tampa Home Talk. I'm your host, Katrina Madewell, and this afternoon we have in studio Glass Doctor, our lovely Frank Yarbrough, and walking encyclopedia, Frank Lekoch. Get it right?
Frank Lekoch, yes, correct.
Lekoch. Talking about all kinds of things from bathroom glass and how to modernize that, change it, fix it, how it breaks, how it doesn't, all those fun little things, to the different types of glass, windshields, and all that. So where we left off, and if you missed any part of our show, you definitely going to want to catch it in its entirety. Just catch it at tampahometalk.com. You can also listen to it via a podcast, and we're on Facebook and Twitter. Just search for Tampa Home Talk. So windshields, we see this, right, all the time. I mean, I'm sure probably at least once a day, because it's the highlight of what you guys do, you will notice a cracked windshield. And there's a reason why insurance companies don't have a deductible to replace those, right?
There is. There's a Florida statute that's been on the books for a long time that says that if you have full coverage, comprehensive insurance policy in the state of Florida, that the deductible will be waived and it'll be zero cost to the consumer or the policyholder to get that windshield replaced. And the logic behind putting that in place was certainly a consumer-oriented, consumer safety provision. They wanted as many of the vehicles on the state roads to have a clear vision and not have cracks and breaks in their windshield.
Vision, I'm sure, is a big part of it.
All right, and you can get a ticket for having a broken windshield. Typically, they give a warning and allow you time to fix it, and then come show proof of the repair. It's not typically something they pull you over for alone. It's usually like something that they pulled you over for another violation. But I'm pretty sure they can pull you over for a crack. And if you had a lot of cracks or it was really blocking your vision, you're more likely to get pulled over, I suspect.
But doesn't it proposes a certain amount of not liability, but just safety concerns if it's cracked, right? Because isn't it just shatter out of nowhere? Like, how does that work if there's a small crack in it? Because I noticed they slowly travel, right? If there's a crack, it's going to keep moving, or even a chip.
The chips, if you don't get a chip repaired, and we can do chip repairs, which is where we put we drill a hole into the center of the chip and we put a resin in there, and it runs into the crack.
Excellent point. Much cheaper than a new windshield, right?
Yeah. So you put it under a little vacuum.
What's that cost roughly?
Mobile service to you, it's going to be $75 to $125, depending on where you're at and who's servicing you.
Or you can bring your chip to Glass Doctor.
You can bring it into our main location, and certainly we can do it for probably $25, $30 less because we don't have the travel expenses.
Perfect. Okay, so carry on. With that process?
So first thing to do is if you get a little chip, it's smaller than the size of a quarter, is probably worth repairing so that it doesn't run out the next time we have a cold snap or you hit a big pothole or speed bump. Those kind of vibrations can cause it to run out. Once it starts running out and gets more than 3 or 4 inches away from the crack, now you're talking about a windshield replacement. Of course, luckily, being in the state of Florida, the cost to do a chip repair is free, as well as the cost to do a replacement. So whatever's best for you, the consumer, in your vehicle, is going to be the same cost to you. So we would just help the customer talk about their damage and understand what their options are. But you can get that if you have full coverage, comprehensive coverage insurance on your vehicle. You can get that chip or that crack replaced for free, no cost to you. And we can help you file that claim with the insurance company, so just call us, and we can save you some time on the claim filing as well.
And that's tempered glass, right? Again, the windshield?
Yeah, let's talk about that. I'm glad you had that follow-up question. One of the common questions we get when people call is, hey, my windshield's broke. Is it safe to drive? I'm concerned about the glass falling on me or somebody getting hurt. And the answer is the windshield, even when it's cracked, still has enough. It's designed to have enough strength to still support your roof and the structure of your vehicle, and also to prevent objects from penetrating into the driver compartment. So it's still going to do its job. Remember, it's 2 pieces of glass. The one that's broken is typically just the outside piece, and you still have that PVB inner layer that we talked about earlier. So that vehicle is safe to drive. The only thing you really have to worry about until you can get it to a glass shop to get repaired is if your visibility is obstructed significantly. If that crack's right in front of the driver's view, that can be a safety hazard because you're having to look through it, and it's distracting, especially at night or in the rain with lights hitting it and light refracting at different directions.
And it's a safety to someone else. It's a safety concern
Right.
for other people at that point, too.
But as far as for the glass doing its job and falling in on you, that's not a concern. You can rest easy. You can certainly wait and schedule it at a time that's convenient for you. A few days is not going to matter.
So I'm curious, can a tempered piece of glass, can it be cut or modified in any way?
Tempered glass, no.
No.
The process that it goes through prohibits it from being modified or drilled or cut in any way.
And if someone tried to do that, it would shatter, I presume?
It would
Of
shatter.
course, it's designed to break when you scar it or crack it or hit it. So if you try to drill into it or cut it, same thing. It breaks into little teeny pieces.
So one of the questions I forgot to ask when we were talking at the beginning and the earlier part of the show with regards to the shower doors, how long does that process take? Like if someone wanted to order that frameless shower, you know, I know you have to, I'm sure, measure and figure out what you're doing if you're changing anything and installing it. How long is that process?
The process basically is about anywhere from between 10 and 12 business days for us to come out to measure, order the glass, and get it delivered back to us.
Pretty quick process. Sounds like.
Yes, ma'am. And we're the last ones to come in after all your tile work has all been done, because we have to get the final measurements. Because on a frameless, basically on a frameless shower measurement install, there's very little tolerance for error.
Can't imagine why, right?
The best thing to do is to call us when you're in the budgeting plan and give us some rough dimensions, some ideas of what you want. You know, we talk about towel bars and what frame you want to match. You know, you're matching bronze faucets or, you know, chrome faucets, what color, and we can kind of give you a good close range within a few $100s on the phone. And then once you've had your tile guy and get that new beautiful tile in there, and you're ready for the install, then we can send the technician out to get exact measurements. We can give you the exact quote, finalize your options for towel bars and handles and colors of your metal framing or your clips. And
Now, Brian, if somebody didn't want clear as far as the shower doors, what options do they have? They can get like frosted, or can they get colored?
Oh, sure. We could get colored glass, but the color on the glass,
Frosted,
it's
anything
not
like that?
common. Normally frosted or rain glass or some that it can have certain designs or patterns in it. Frank, go ahead. What kind
Yeah, some customers don't like the thought of being behind clear glass, so they go for the obscure look, whether it's rain glass or like a frosted, like a satin finish.
What does rain glass look like? Can you describe that to me?
Basically, rain glass looks like a window on a rainy day when the water's running down it.
Okay.
Basically.
I gotcha.
Hence the name rain glass.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't know. So what do you see more, clear glass or people picking something with patterns and other stuff in it?
Clear glass. 99% of our work is clear glass because, as Brian said earlier, you want to showcase that
That's a
work
clean
that
look.
you've done in
Yeah.
your bathroom, or else you just put a shower curtain up and be done with it.
Plus, I think it might determine or depend a lot on your home design, right? So if you can see into your bathroom and there's not like another door, if your bathroom is open, people may want to choose a different type of glass, right? One that's not
Exactly.
clear.
Right, if they feel like if they want the modesty behind the glass, then they'll do some sort of rain or obscured pattern.
Right, like my room has a door to the bedroom, but there's also another door to the bathroom, but not every design is set up like that. So
And you could etch part of it too.
You can etch privacy bands in it.
Etch privacy bands in it. You can just do just about anything you want with the glass.
And speaking of which, I noticed that when we were talking, you guys said there's some really cool trends coming in kitchen and that kind of stuff where you guys are also using glass. And I want to talk about that. But before we jump into it, because it's such an exciting topic, we're going to take a real quick break because I'm going to leave you guys hanging because what you have to say next is fantastic. We'll be back in a minute.
You're buying a house. Congratulations. So while you're worrying about the paperwork, leave the moving part to us. We're Woody & Sons Moving Company, a Florida licensed and insured mover, and we offer same-day written estimates. Plus, no sneaky mileage, stairs, or additional stop fees. All we ask is that you check out our great ratings on Google and Angie's List, then go to woodyandsons.com to learn more. Whether you need a full service pack and move or some extra hands, at Woody & Sons Moving Company, we move you.
Aaron Davis here, owner of Hillsborough Title, serving all of Tampa Bay. Our service strength and knowledge make us different. From Polk County to the Gulf, Pasco to Manatee, Tampa Bay, we've got you covered. Visit us on the web at thebesttitle.com. That's thebesttitle.com.
Thanks for sticking around. We're back here for Tampa Home Talk in studio with Glass Doctor. If you missed any part of our earlier show, or maybe even your windshield is broke right now, you might want to give us a call on your off-air number, on our off-air number, so we can get Glass Doctor out there to fix that. 813-377-2775. Again, our off-air number where you can call or text. We can hook you up with Frank and Brian over at Glass Doctor. 813-377-2775. So where we left off, because I'm sure there's somebody sitting in the car listening that can't wait to hear what's next with glass in the kitchen. So what do you got? What's new?
And to you, Frank.
Did you say countertops? Didn't you tell me that?
Countertops, backsplashes.
Describe it
I'm
to
intrigued with the glass countertops. So let's talk about that.
The actual countertops, there is customers that like the glass look on their countertops instead of granite or Formica.
So is that color? Is it clear? Is it the whole thing? Is it just the breakfast bar?
It can be all of the above. It can be colored. It could be clear. It could be frosted. It's endless.
You gotta describe something.
Leopard spots.
You gotta describe that, because we don't see glass countertops in the kitchen. I gotta tell you, I haven't seen that yet.
Have you seen them in the bathroom?
I mean, they've even gotten to the point where you can digitally print on glass.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
Digitally print a pattern, right?
Well, I had this house that had bright red quartz countertops, and I've seen that. That was different, right? You don't see that every day. But okay, glass. You got to tell me about what's the last one you did.
Basically the same thing, but you can color it in any color you want. It's really popular for backsplashes too right now.
The mosaic, right? Which are glass. We see that a lot.
I think you mentioned you saw some at some smoothie stores or coffee shops or something, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, if you go to
backsplashes.
If you go to the yogurt shops, Yogurtology or any yogurt shops around the frozen yogurt, you'll see their walls are basically they're basically glass walls.
Yeah, a lot of, even I noticed Chili's with their new design, they're putting pieces of glass with their little chili pepper in it. Did you guys see that?
It has a cool look to it. It gives some depth to the piece, and it kind of just makes it look new and fresh and modern. It really plays nice in bathrooms and kitchens.
Yes.
So, but you have to talk more about these countertops, because I haven't seen it yet, and I'm trying to envision it. The
countertops are more.
So how thick is it? What's underneath it?
Usually it's half inch or more, half inch, 3/4. Mostly you see them in bathrooms. You'll see a glass top on top of a vanity with another glass bowl on top.
So it's a piece of glass on top.
Piece of glass on top of
Formica or whatever.
Whatever.
What's under there usually? Do you know?
Usually it's a wood vanity. And the glass gets mounted with standoffs.
Okay.
So that it's off the vanity, and on top of that glass top there is another glass bowl, if you will.
Yeah. So the glass protects the vanity from getting wet.
Right, and the color or the pattern that you're designing into it is usually on the bottom half of the glass, so you got depth, a field of depth to it. You don't really see the glass, but it makes it look deep, because you got the glass on top of the color, but the color is what stands out.
So you guys, actually the last project that you did for me, I think you might have worked with a client actually very last, but maybe the time before that, for me personally, you guys came and you put a piece of glass, smoky glass, on top of a desk in our new office. A really big, huge desk, like almost a conference-sized desk.
Yeah, we do a lot of the glass tabletops for desks and offices and homes.
So conference rooms, anything.
Conference rooms, conference tables, desks, credenzas, you name it. Basically protects your furniture from everyday ins and outs, and keeps it new.
It's nice. I mean, I kind of talk loud. I write hard, so glass is probably good for me. So I'm not pressing through to the wood.
Exactly. That's what it's for. It's to protect your wood.
So the one thing we didn't talk about yet, and I have to share on this because I don't think a lot of people realize this. I know I didn't the first time I saw you guys do it, so that's why I want to talk about it. The glass when you in a home, right? And usually you see the top part, the lower part. I'm breaking it down simplistic, right, so people can follow and I can follow. But there's the not seams, but the metal parts that go in between that make the crisscross or T pattern.
The muntins or grids.
I knew it had a real name.
Give it that colonial
That's what I was
look.
looking for.
As a matter of fact, you have them on the door behind you, right?
Yes.
Those things?
Yes, on the order of that.
Right.
So he's talking about the T patterns or the things in there. So what I thought was, when I saw you guys replace a window, was that you had to replace that whole thing. And what I didn't realize till they came out is, no, really just that one little section that was broken got replaced.
Well, it depends. There are windows that are true divided lights, which each pane is separate, and then there's basically like the door behind us is one piece of glass with a muntin grid on top of it to give it that look.
And more common on the more modern stuff, actually, it's one piece of glass with decorative muntins either on the outside of the glass or sometimes even manufactured between the panes to give the colonial look.
And muntins are those little connectors?
Muntins.
Muntins.
It's actually, M-U-N-T-I-N.
Okay.
Muntin, and we are grids. You can call them grids. You can call them, dividers, whatever you want to call them. We get it.
Window dividers.
Gives it that colonial look to that pane of glass.
And the other thing too, and we have a funky size window in one of our house, and one of the windows, it's just an odd size. They don't really make it anymore. So we were going to replace the window because it was broken, and then it just wasn't something we could find. So we had to modify that space, or we just basically called you guys and had that window pane replaced.
Which we talked about yesterday when we were on the phone. It was called reglaze the window, and that's certainly one of the things that we do well. It's a great way to save money. You don't have to replace the frame. We can, if your window is broken, of course, we can reglaze that new glass into that same frame. That's the industry term is called glazing or a glazier. And so to reglaze just means to take the glass out, the broken glass or the fogged glass out, and reglaze it. One common thing that we want to make sure we talk about, becoming a big part of our business, is what we call IGU. That's IG as in golf, U as in uniform, for insulated glass units. What people commonly refer to as double pane glass.
Thank you.
Because
that's the new. We're seeing the new
stuff. It's more common. It adds sound dampening, so it makes your house quieter. It provides a little extra insulation value, so
they're very energy efficient.
Right.
The stuff I'm seeing the builders put in now, they're much more energy efficient with those double pane, low E insulated windows.
Right, and then they can put low E coatings on them, and even can fill them with argon gas, all kinds of things.
So what is the low E? What does that mean exactly?
Low energy.
That's all that it stands for? Low energy?
And it's talking about the R factor, the insulation factor. It reflects some of the heat with a slight, if you look at it at different angles, it has a slight bit of reflectivity, but it looks clear to when you're not paying attention. But if you look a little bit, you can get a little rainbow effect. Well, that little bit of refractiveness reflects the light and keeps the energy heat gain in and out, both for the winter and the summer. Energy transfer down, their R factor down. So that's a big thing. And then the one thing that we can do that most companies install whole windows, but what we can do is we can actually, when those seals, those double pane seals fail usually 10, 15 years after installation, and now we have enough of this product in our market, those things are starting to fail on people's homes, and your window will appear foggy.
So I was going to ask you about the foggy windows.
Sometimes even get mold, and you can't clean it because it's not on the inside, not on the outside. It's in between the panes, and we can reglaze those. We can come out, measure your frame, and have a new one manufactured and come out and just replace the insulated glass unit or the double pane unit, and it's much more cost effective than replacing the whole window.
Absolutely.
And all windows don't usually fail. Usually the windows that are on the southern exposure with a lot of sun will fail sooner than the other ones. The other ones may last another 10 or 12 years over there on the shady side of the house, so it can be a very cost effective way to improve your home, improve your view, make your window look clean again.
Is that the seal on the outer edge, or is that like in between the little window pieces?
The seal you don't see because it's in the frame.
Okay.
It's basically two pieces of glass with a spacer. It's a butyl spacer, so that.
Is it like the other thing that we described earlier
it's
with
not
the
like
plastic?
it's not like the laminated. There's an airspace between the two pieces of glass in this instance, keeping the air in between, making the glass efficient.
That's what makes it energy efficient.
That air gives you helps with the R value, and that's why sometimes they actually fill it with certain gases, certain inert gases.
Yeah, argon gas.
Argon gas,
and mostly for up north is the argon gas because of the cold weather.
So that keeps it from breaking?
No, that gives it more. No, it transfers less heat back in and out. So in temperature in markets where you have huge temperature differentials, which is not Florida, believe it or not, the cold climates, where where you have big differentials between the indoor and outdoor temperature in the winter.
It's like 40 and then 80.
It sometimes pays for itself to go that extra step. In Florida, the argon filled is probably overkill, but a good insulated thermal pane window is worth it. It reduces the sound and it helps save you some energy with your electric bill.
Yeah, I just just remodeled my house, and I put new insulated glass windows, and it's night and day.
So did you change your whole window, or did you just change the glass?
Well, I had regular old windows because the house was built in 1972, so we had just regular single pane windows. So I put new windows, and it did come with the insulated glass, and it makes.
And before we forget, because we only have like a minute left, you were talking about that restoration glass in the older homes, like the restored Seminole Heights type homes.
Yes, they make a restoration grade glass. Basically, looks like it's been cast by hand, because that's how it used to be made a long time ago, back in the 20s and 30s. So people that are looking to keep that look of a landmark home, an old home, there's restoration glass that matches the rest of your house.
We've all seen those old houses, or those old farmhouses, or those that have the glass looks kind of wavy and droopy.
Yes.
And I always thought that it drooped over time with gravity, because the fact that glass was a liquid. But we found out preparing for the show that actually that's because of the old manufacturing process, the way they spun it. The thickness and the variance of the glass was uneven at the ends versus the center, and gives it that waviness. So they basically can replicate that for somebody who's doing a restoration. Certainly we have all the vendor contacts to help somebody with that process.
And the one little piece that I want to leave you with, which I love about Glass Doctor, stay away from the cheap products, because it's what gives you that little distortion, right, in your windshield.
Right,
You've
right.
seen that, where you look at it and it's like going, ooh. It's
the manufacturers that make glass for the OEM, the dealerships, those guys have the ISO 9000 processes that help them keep their manufacturing quality control standards up to that specs. Then when you go buy the lesser brands in the aftermarket, the quality controls drop, and so you sometimes have flaws or waviness in your windshield, and that distortion can be very annoying to a driver, as I believe you experienced.
Yes, I had that a long time ago with an old windshield, and it was super annoying. You're listening to Tampa Home Talk. We have had fun. This hour has just flown by here with Glass Doctor. If you'd like to get in touch with them, reach us off air, 813-377-2775. You can call us or text us on our off air number. Grab a pen quick, or text 813-377-2775. We had so much fun. And for this week, time is up. Next week, don't forget Joe Redner with Cigar City Brewing will be in studio. For this week, we're out.